Happy Friday, Fumble fan. Thank you so much for tuning in to our live show. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? You need to get on that now. Tap that subscribe button and make sure you hit the thumbs up and tap the bell for notifications so you never miss a video from us. Okay, now let's get to the intros. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @Devin Howard.
It's your boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at DK2K.
I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on all things social media at JRay the Fanatic.
I'm Britt Johnson. You can follow me at I am Britt Johnson.
TGIF, you guys. It's a great day. It's beautiful weather.
Hey.
We're going into the
Beautiful
weekend.
weather that we can enjoy.
Exactly.
You can go out and we have a really full docket today, which and kind of an interesting show for you, so I'm excited to get into it. But first, we have to take a moment to wish Gigi Bryant a happy birthday. Today actually would have been her 14th birthday. Vanessa posted a really sweet tribute for her daughter, a couple of them actually, and she encouraged people to wear red in honor of Gigi because Gigi always wore a red bow in her pictures, in her school pictures. So I changed my shirt just before the live to wear some red today. But yeah, we're always thinking about the Bryants, her friends, her family, and hopefully she's having a good birthday up in heaven. So kind of, it's bittersweet. You know, it's kind of a sad day. But let's get into our first story, you guys. I want to fill you in on what's been happening with Lavar Ball. So he actually says that he is totally unimpressed by the Lakers. So he was asked if he, was kind of wowed by what they're doing this season. And he said, quote, "Am I impressed? No, I'm only impressed with what my sons are doing. I'm not worried about anybody else. I don't care about them. I only care about what my boys are doing first." Now, I have to admit, I give Lavar a lot of ish. I was about to say the S word, but we're not allowed to this early on in the live. I give him a lot of ish, but I can't really blame him here because the Lakers traded Lonzo to the Pelicans, and then they went on to have a really successful season without him there. I think that Lavar took it personally. Whether he should or shouldn't is a whole different story, but I don't blame him for not watching the Lakers and being like, oh yeah, they're doing so well. He also, has enough to focus on his own plate right now. LaMelo just declared for the 2020 draft. All of the brothers just signed with Rock Nation Sports. So he's thinking about other things. He's relaunching Big Baller Brand. He doesn't care what the Lakers are doing, and I get it. He also discussed The Last Dance. He said that he hasn't learned anything new from it. He said he saw it all happen in real life and he doesn't need a documentary about it. And then he went on to talk about what he's learned in this pandemic and discuss how he's grown as a person. And he said, "I ain't learned nothing, man. I'm a better person anyway. I'm just stating a fact. The big baller business is back." So lots of stuff happening here with Lavar. Chris, do you believe that he really isn't paying any attention to the Lakers? And how do you think he feels about the team now? Do you think it's negative, positive, neutral? What do you think?
I think he said how he feels. Like, why should he care? He's a dad where his kids are off doing their own thing. He's about to have 2 kids in the league. None of them play for the Lakers. So I don't know what else they expected him to say. Of course he's not going to care. I mean, yeah, of course we're going to add the extra fuel to that fire because Lonzo was a Laker. But I feel like it's just like any situation. If, your kid is not playing for that team anymore, they go on to another team. All right, on to the next. So I feel like you said it perfect, Devin. Like, it's just like, what else do you expect him to say? Like, what did you really want him to say in that kind of situation? So, no, I feel like he put it perfectly. He could give a damn about what's going on with the Lakers right now.
But do you think he feels negatively about the team, or is he indifferent? That's what I really want to know.
I just think he just does not care. I don't think it's negative. I think it's indifferent. I mean, I don't think it's any ill will because of what happened. I think it's just like, why do I need to focus on you guys? My son's a Pelican. I'm going to hope that the Pelicans go and win the championship. I don't think it's ill will. I just indifferent. He could care less.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, okay, so we feel the same way about that. Okay, so Jackie, now that he has both LaMelo on his way into the NBA and Lonzo in the NBA, that's 2 out of the 3 Ball brothers. Do you think that he's going to be even louder now than he was before because he has 2 people to kind of root for in the league?
Louder. I don't even know if that's possible. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say Lavar is gonna remain Lavar. I also think he's got bigger fish to fry right now. He has a company that his sons don't want to be a part of. He has to figure out a way to get that off the ground. Chris, I think, probably has the best prediction of what's going to happen with that. But he needs to stay focused. He needs to make sure he doesn't put another crook in charge of his company. He's got a lot of other things to think about. I don't think he's going to get quieter, but I don't think he's going to get louder.
I don't know. I think we're kind of ramping things up a little bit now that there's people to talk about in the media. I'm going to jump into our next news update. This one's about the NFL. So they are actually considering playing games on Saturdays during the 2020 season if the upcoming college football campaign is canceled because of the coronavirus. So the New York Post published an article saying that the league has had preliminary discussions with broadcast partners about the potential for standalone Saturday games, which would happen only if there's not college football to compete for TV viewers. The Saturday games are not going to be listed when the NFL releases their schedule, which is slated to come out sometime around or before May 10th. But the league is leaving some flexibility there in case they do want to add in those Saturday games. Roger Goodell said on CBS this morning that the league is moving forward under the assumption that a season will be played despite everything that's happening with coronavirus. So what this means for the NFL is with the addition of Saturday games, it would put the league on television more than half of the week with Thursday, Sunday, and Monday games already on the schedule. So, Britt, I know that this would be a worst case scenario for college football players, but how would you like having Saturday games in the NFL schedule?
I don't like it at all. The players already complain about, having a game day, and then if that same week, following week, they have a Thursday night game and just getting no rests and stuff like that. This is just going to add to that problem already because they're going to try to have to manage all of these games. And, if kids or players are playing on Monday night and then having to play on Saturday night for the next week and whatever the case, it just doesn't work out. And I don't even understand this whole idea anyway, because if there's no college games because of the coronavirus, don't you think that there wouldn't be any NFL games because of the coronavirus? So I don't even know why we're even discussing this because it doesn't make sense. We're in the same country. So I feel like if it's so where college can't play, I would feel like the NFL would be the same.
Yeah,
I was wondering that too. I was curious about that. What makes the NFL think that they're going to have games if no college games are even happening? Well, Jackie, what do you think is the likelihood of college games being canceled and then maybe thereby NFL games as well?
I was actually reading an article on USA Today about this yesterday, and I think that the college NCAA is going to do everything they can to not allow this to happen. I think in the Power Five, that's a little over 50 schools, but they're estimated to lose $78 million per school if this happens, if they cancel the football. So when you're talking about a lot of these schools, that's like 60% of their revenue. So, and then when you're talking about student fees, because those will be reduced because a lot of people aren't going to be playing, they're not going to come back, you're going to wait it out. So I just think that if there is a way, they're going to figure out how to play these games because it's just too much riding on this. But, Chris said this yesterday, every month I feel like they're pushing it back more. Okay, we were supposed to get out, I think April something we were supposed to get out. Now it's May 15th. And now we just talked about this before the live started, that there's 1,000 new cases in Georgia when they just reopened it. So I think we in trouble. But I think if there's a will, they're going to have to find a way to make sure that these schools don't lose this revenue.
Yeah,
that's a lot of revenue.
Yeah, to Jackie's point, when I talked about it the other day, it was $10.6 billion just for the football season alone that the NCAA gets in 1 year. So $10 billion. So that's a lot of money if you just add it all up,
Yeah, we might have mannequins in the stand. They're not going to try to lose that money.
Right.
Oh my God. Well, Chris, say they do decide, I know this is unlikely, but say they do decide to cancel the college football campaign, this is going to affect college football players.
Yeah, 100%. Especially with all these new, with what Britt was talking about yesterday, with that coming in too, that could have helped them out right off the jump, and now they're gonna have to wait on that as well. Just yeah, on all fronts, is going to definitely hurt not just the NCAA, like you just mentioned. It's going to hurt the players too, because that is their chances to prove themselves for that next level, and then that takes a year away from them, and then who knows the shape they're going to be in when they do. It's so many different factors that it's going to affect, but I think Britt put the nail on the coffin, because hit the nail on the head, excuse me. And the minute I heard it, I was like, wait, if we're not playing college games that are on fields and all kinds of stuff, why are we playing professional games that are on fields the same way?
Right.
So to me, it's one of those things where I'm sure they're going to fight for both to be played, of course, in their separate leagues. But I would be surprised if we have one without the other. I'd find that very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a premature statement and a premature article that the New York Post published, because I don't know what makes the NFL think that they would be in any better position to carry out a season if college can't.
Exactly.
Anyway, interesting thought, though. Let's jump into our third need-to-know news story about Kendrick Perkins. I feel like we've been talking about him a lot lately. He tweeted his top 5 greatest point guards of all time. He lists Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, John Stockton, Chris Paul, and Gary Payton. He does not list Steph Curry, which a lot of people had a huge problem with. He sent out another tweet after catching a bunch of heat for that, saying that his reason for not including Steph is, quote, because he's not a true point guard. He's what we call a hybrid. Change the game and he will be a top 20 player of all time. So people were just stunned that he didn't include Steph. There are a lot of tweets that said, one person said, it's crazy how someone who's played at the highest level for so long can have no idea what he's talking about. Another guy said, you have Gary Payton on this list, whom averaged 6.7 per game on his career. Steph Curry averages 6.6. Your definition of hybrid stinks, Perk. So, Chris, is Kendrick Perkins onto something here? Do you think that Steph belongs on that list?
Onto something. That's a good way to play it. Look, I will. I have my opinions on other people's top 5, but because the names he has on there, they're pretty solid. I agree. I feel like the Gary Payton one is the hard one to put over Steph Curry. But again, man, to each their own. It's a bit off. But it's very Kendrick Perkins. It's on brand. So I mean, if that's his 5, if someone told me, okay, here's the starting 5, one of these 3 players picked that as their top 5 point guards, I would have picked Kendrick Perkins on this list. So to each their own. To me, I feel like Steph Curry, hybrid or not, still at the point guard position is definitely one of the greatest point guards of all time. I would have to go through who my top 5 would be, but looking at that list, I would definitely have Curry over Payton. But hey, Kendrick Perkins, man, he loves to stay in his lane, which is always on the far, far left of the freeway. So, that's Kendrick Perkins being Kendrick Perkins.
Well, here's a thought, controversial hot take. Maybe since he's trying to act like he doesn't want any more drama with KD, he's doing that by dissing Steph. Although I don't think KD and Steph have a bad relationship. I'm trying to stir the pot here a little bit. Britt, do you agree? Do you agree with Kendrick Perkins on his top 5 list of point guards?
Absolutely not. I would put I'm sorry, but Gary Payton's not in my top 10. He's not. He's not in my top 10. I do not think so at all. So to have a guy, which I would put in my top 3, Steph Curry, and I think most people would too. I think this is the disrespect that somebody, I forgot who it was. Homeboy from that just joined the Lakers. Oh, he dissed Michael Jordan and didn't put Michael Jordan.
Dion Waiters. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dion Waiters.
My bad.
I'm trying to forget his name real quick.
Right.
Yeah. But that to me, it's that level of disrespect. To me, like Steph Curry should be in everybody's top 5, and I don't care if you want to say he's like a hybrid. I feel like Russell Westbrook is like one of the top 10 point guards of all time, but he also plays shooting guard sometimes, and he switches it up with James Harden. So, and I literally, and Magic Johnson, who I think is probably the greatest point guard of all time, at some point played every position. So
right.
I can't believe that he would even say, oh, well, he's not like actual, a lot of people aren't actually point guards right now. LeBron James is playing point guard, but is LeBron James a point guard? No, So it's just like, I feel like what we've been talking about the last couple of days in the meshing of like the 1 through 4 position kind of is like, I don't really think a lot of people are like solid. I'm just only a point guard, And so to even like say that that's the reason why you didn't put him in the top 5 is ridiculous, because I could name half of the players that you did put in the top 5 that have played other positions as well. So I think that was stupid. I think he maybe just accidentally forgot. And so he was just trying to go back on what he said. And like, because sometimes you're thinking of your top 5 and you forgot to put somebody that's an obvious dead giveaway. And I think that's probably what happens, trying to like go back on it and not sound like he just forgot about Steph Curry.
I don't know, but he got a lot of heat for it. Anyway, that wraps Need to Know News. We have a cool, unique segment coming up from Jackie. So, Jackie, I'm going to let you do the intro for this one.
Yes, I'm super excited about this because you guys know that I'm from Denver. So the Broncos hold a very, very special place in my heart. So I'm excited that I have the opportunity to sit down with 4-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl winner, and now LA Chargers cornerback Chris Harris Jr. We talked about quarantine life, his advice for undrafted free agents, and his excitement in joining the Chargers. Take a listen. 4-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl winner with the Denver Broncos, and now we're welcoming him to LA and the LA Chargers, Chris Harris Jr., everybody. Thank you so much for joining.
No problem.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Thanks for having me.
So I know you're quarantining like the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
Where are you? Are you, because I know you're from Oklahoma. Are you there? You in LA?
I'm in Dallas. I've been living in Dallas for a while now. And my family, we just been really stuck in the house. Can't do too much.
Right.
But just trying to, I've been able to maintain my workout, so.
Oh, that's good. That's important. Let's get right into this because the Chargers picked you up at the beginning of the lockdown. So you're in Dallas. So you haven't even been to LA yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, my goodness.
It's definitely a different situation to join a new team and not be able to be with them and kind of learn with the coaches face to face. So it's definitely different. So can't wait till we get it rolling. And
I can't wait too. As sports fans, trust me, we are all ready for you to come back.
Yeah.
So I know you watched the NFL draft and it was super emotional this time because we were actually in the homes with the players, which I loved. When the 2011 draft was all said and done and you didn't get the call, what was your very first thought?
I was definitely hurt, because I had started over 40 games in the Big 12 and had accomplished a lot in college. So I definitely thought I had a chance, but I was during a lockout, so it wasn't any communication. And some of these guys I see, they're getting picked up now. At this time, I wasn't picked up. So we had to wait. I had to just continue to stay ready. And I had to wait until July once the lockout got lifted. And that's when I finally got picked up and was able to join the team. So it was. I think it was a harder situation just because of there was no communication at all.
So from not getting the initial call during the draft to 4-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl winner, do you ever look back on the road that you've traveled and said, damn, I did that?
Oh yeah, but I mean, I'm just still hungry. I still got a lot of work that I want to accomplish. So I still try to work like I'm still trying to make the team, and that's just the motto I got to have and the chip I got to continue to have. I'm not done yet. So that's my motto right now is that to finish the journey. And it's been great. It's been hard, but I know I got a lot more plays to make.
So 9 years in the league. Is there ever a wide receiver that you think of, okay, now I'm going to have to go in here and put in some real work?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you play against Antonio Brown, Julio Jones. Those guys definitely have been great receivers. DeAndre Hopkins been great receivers over the years. And so those have always been great challenges going against them. So those have been my best battles.
Who talks the most trash?
Oh, man. None of them.
Really?
No.
Antonio Brown doesn't talk any trash.
He just celebrates. If he catch the ball, he'll celebrate, or catch a touchdown, he'll celebrate. But during the game, he's not talking. Hopkins don't talk. So I haven't had that receiver. Only person that's talked to me in the game is Keenan Allen. Now we're two.
Okay, so. Right. So I'm from the Mile High City. So I'm from Denver, Colorado. And so I try to explain to them on the Fumble all the time how much love we have, especially for the Denver Broncos. So can you just tell them how you were embraced in Denver while you were there?
Definitely. They had great fans. I mean, when you go in Denver, it's all about football. That's all they care about is the Broncos. And it was fun definitely playing out there. And I'm excited about my next journey playing in LA in a new stadium, new jerseys. So I'm excited for what we got coming.
Yeah, so speaking of that, so you're joining, some other Pro Bowlers, Casey Hayward, Derwin James. Have you guys had a chance to talk yet?
Oh yeah, we've been doing the virtual the virtual meetings and connecting, and then I've called those guys a couple times. Just trying to bring on the initiative of just getting to know my new teammates, and I've actually known a couple of those guys just playing them over the years and seeing them at the Pro Bowls and things like that in the off season. So I think I fit in well, and so far it's been great.
Okay, so like I said, I'm from Denver, so Denver fans, sun or snow, rain or sleet, win or lose, they are fans. You're coming to LA, and the Chargers fan base, they did not like the Denver fan base. Are you ready for that challenge where they really need some wins to start getting the fans to kind of follow the team? Are you ready for that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's everybody reinventing ourselves. So I think me just coming over here and doing it with them and being a part of that transition, I think that's a great challenge, and that's something that I love to be a part of. And I think we can do it as soon as we start winning and we get the new stadium, get the vibe right in LA. I think it can happen for sure.
You guys, this interview was so much fun. He's a big fan of being here. He loves the new Chargers uniform. He also says the Chargers uniform is better than the Denver Bronco uniform. I let it slide because he's so nice. But yeah, so he's loving it here. I'm excited for him to be here. He has a romantic pregame ritual too. So make sure you tune back in, see the full interview. So like I said, subscribe. I'm excited, guys. You're going to love this interview though. So now it's time to move on to what else is going on in the world of social media. Chris?
Yes. It is time for the post up quarantine edition. I'm not going to forget. Y'all killed me 2 days ago. But this is the show where we talk about the craziness in social media with the sports world. And with not much sports going on, we can only go to the sports world with social media. I just want to quickly say, too, great interview by Jackie. Good job with that. Well done. And also the Chargers backfield is going to be insane. Anyways, enough of that. Let's talk about John Wall, okay? I know. Who's that? Y'all remember John Wall? Because it's been damn near 2 seasons since we've seen John Wall. But that man is confident because he feels like he is going to come back and be a better version of himself when he comes back from this second injury in 2 years. So listen to his confidence in this interview.
So when I'm playing, when I'm not playing, I'm watching these guys play, like the young guys, and they all they killing our team and they looking at our bench and stuff. Just know I got those right down in my notes for when I come back when they start next season, because I'm like, I can't wait to show them what I got, what I'm about. But I'm gonna be better than what I was before, and that's the scary part about it, because damn near my whole year, damn near the whole my 5 years I was an all-star, bro. I played with 2 bone spurs in my knee and my heel, and people don't know that. So y'all
speaking of guard.
They ain't even get the best of John Wall yet, so they just got a clip of him. So when I'm
So at first, when I heard the interview, when I heard their reaction, them being Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, their reaction, I felt like it was yeah, you talk that talk. But then the more I listened to it, it sounded like they're like, okay, whatever you say. But I don't know, maybe it's just me being a little bit of a hater. But after that interview went around Twitter, there was a lot of people saying that, watch out for John Wall. He's going to be one of the best point guards in the league, this and that, rah, 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 rah. And they were saying that after this, he's going to go right back into being the top of the top. So, Britt, I have a question for you, being that your favorite player happens to be a point guard in Damian Lillard. Do you think that this confident version of John Wall is going to come right back into the league and jump into the conversation of the Damian Lillards, the Steph Currys, the Russell Westbrooks? Or is he just happy to be back?
I do. I think, okay. Let's not forget one of his last games before he got injured in 2018 in December. I think it was the 16th against the Lakers. He had 40 points, 14 assists, and then a couple weeks later is when he got injured. And then, immediately after getting injured, he had an infection after his surgery, and then had his Achilles rupture all in the same time. So we haven't seen him since then. But I think that is the biggest problem with people who have injuries, is going back into the game not confident, and he doesn't have that problem. So I think that he is going to be able to like overcome it and, you know, play some great basketball. I'm excited to see him come back. I can't wait. I think he didn't rush himself back, which I think is most important. And I think he has the confidence. So why not? He's 29 years old right now. Why can't he come back and have Adrian Peterson type of season where, you know, you literally think you're never going to play again and have the best season you've ever had after your injury? Why not?
I respect that. Okay, so you got a believer here in Britt Johnson, John Wall. I think he's going to come back and still be good. I just don't. He got the confidence, and like Britt said, that is probably one of the biggest factors from coming back from any kind of serious injury like this. So hopefully that'll mean he'll come back and be in that All-Star conversation. I mean, you're on the East Coast, so I mean, you play for the Eastern Conference, so I mean, it won't be too hard over there. But John Wall, looking forward to him being back because the Wizards and Bradley Beal need some help. Moving on to LeBron James, because he revealed the new Space Jam logo yesterday, and I gotta say, now I'm somebody that's actually not opposed to this new movie. I know a lot of people, especially in our generation, are a little bit skeptical because the original one holds such a close place to a lot of our hearts, and me too. But because of I know who's behind the scenes, you know, Ryan Coogler, and LeBron James shows that he has a bit of acting chops, and you know, AI and CGI and everything so much better. I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe this movie might be good, so I'm not going to go into it negatively. And I got to say, with this logo, he posted this picture on, or it was a video, but we got the picture right here. The new logo, I don't hate it. It's simple, a little cartoonized. I like it. I think it's a good logo. You can see that the new movie's going to be called Space Jam: A New Legacy. I got no beef with it. I feel like the internet wasn't really against it. Of course, the people that hate anything LeBron James does, they're going to be against it, so I took them out. But you know, the majority liked the new logo, the new look. But I also feel like people were still very much focused on the beard. I saw someone say that he looks more like Greg Oden than LeBron James in this photo, and I feel like that's pretty fair because, man, that beard is taking over his whole mouth. But besides that, the new logo looks dope. I'm looking forward to that. But unfortunately, that's going to be 2021. Now, sticking with LeBron James, moving over to this next segment. Now, we talked about LeBron and chiming in after, Dr. Fauci was saying that there possibly would be no sports for the rest of the season, or for the rest of the year, excuse me. And, you know, they're going to close all that down. And LeBron came in and said, buddy, I didn't hear that. The people I talked to, nobody said anything like that around me. And as I expected when that tweet came out, when we talked about it yesterday, people, of course, again, because LeBron got as much haters as he has followers, people were like, oh, LeBron, who are you? You don't know. You don't do those kind of things. Rah, 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 rah. And it was all across Twitter. But leave it to the one response that comes from a Knicks fan, somebody I know. He runs an account called Knicks Central. He has a podcast. He said the same thing. And it wasn't even that vital the way he said it. All he said was, it's not up to you, okay? And a lot of other people said a lot more harsh than him, but he said it's not up to you. And that is the one that Richard Jefferson decided to respond to. And, you know, amongst the Knicks community, we're not a big fan of Richard Jefferson because he loves to bash the Knicks, a lot of people. But Richard Jefferson just adds a little extra to it because he was also an ex-Net. So Richard Jefferson responds to that saying, actually, the NBPA has a lot of say-so in this. And although he is not wrong, I just hate that was the one that he decided to respond to because Alex B is a part of a pretty big Knicks podcast. So maybe it's because he might know who he is, and I'll back off a little bit. But I just thought it was so funny that of all the responses, it had to be someone connected to the Knicks. It's just Richard Jefferson just loves to get at us, and it's just a back and forth that goes on with Knicks and Richard Jefferson. But so Richard Jefferson, you win this round because I agree with you, but I just hate that you calling this out once again. Moving on to Giannis Antetokounmpo. We love talking about The Last Dance here on this channel, not even just this show, on this channel. We're all very excited about what we've been seeing. We're all excited about Michael Jordan as a player, as a, everything. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, who we know is very driven to be one of the best, if not the greatest player in the game. And, the last two episodes, they air, every week they air on Sunday, the episodes for The Last Dance. And Giannis, I don't know if he just took the extra time to reflect, or if he just recently saw the latest 2 episodes, but he tweeted yesterday his his reflection of what this documentary means to him. And he tweeted, "My MJ takeaway from the Last Dance documentary is that chasing greatness is a life mission." Now, I feel like he is dead on. I feel like he's very right. I also feel like that should be something that the rest of the league should be a little bit scared of, because the last person who needs any more motivation is Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I feel like this is the kind of thing that just pushed him to be like, yeah, you know, MJ went through all these things and then he ended up being at the top in a lot of people's eyes and stuff like that. So blah, 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 this and that. So I'm with Giannis on this. I think that's a pretty solid takeaway. But I just want to know, you can see it right there, timestamped April 30th. That episode came out on Sunday, but hey, look, man, he probably just, saw the episode, went outside and just meditated on a rock for 4 days and said, I've come to my decision on how I feel about this. And this was his response. Next one, I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about this next one. But first, we've been talking about the whole Packers and their draft this last weekend. Everyone thinks that Aaron Rodgers is going to would be pissed off because they traded up, not just drafted, they traded up to draft another quarterback when there was a lot of other problems that the Packers have for their roster. And then even after that, they didn't help out their draft by picking players that made no sense throughout the entire 3-day draft for the Packers. And Aaron Rodgers, he responded. It was very, cryptic and very subtle, but he responded. He responded with this picture. The caption was literally the, chill vibes, dude emoji, along with the hashtag saying relax. So my question, and then he also, that's right, he also liked this tweet right here. Now on Get Up a few days ago, we had homeboy Rob Domovsky, who killed that name. You see me out here, mama, you see I can read. Rob Domovsky, he went in there and he was talking to Greeny about, a lot of things that Aaron Rodgers was feeling, even though now by seeing this tweet, Aaron Rodgers really never connected to Rob Domovsky at all since the draft, and Brady came out and called him out on it. He said, "This is a bunch of BS, Rob. For you to pretend to be Aaron Rodgers' spokesperson is a joke. Aaron is a big boy. He isn't losing sleep over this. He is chilling, training, and enjoying his offseason. He can handle the business of the NFL. If anything, he has mastered it." And then the big kicker on this is Aaron Rodgers liked that tweet. So here's my question for you guys, and I want to start with you, Jackie. Do you believe that Aaron Rodgers is what he is showing us about the whole relaxing and the chill vibes, and then agreeing with what my boy said right there? Do you believe that Aaron Rodgers really is at peace and okay with the decision that the Packers made in this draft? Or is he just at peace with the fact that, all right, it's time to move on? It's time to move on, rather than, taking it the hard-headed route that a lot of people thought that he was going to take. So which one do you think it is? You think he's actually okay with it, or you think he's just okay with taking that next step?
I think he's okay with taking that next step, and I think that was the Rocky Mountains behind him. So let that sink in. Maybe
so
he's going to the Mile High City.
You just pieces after pieces. They could use them.
They
could. But you think that, yeah. So you think he's just like, what, I'm cool with everything. That was the last thing I need to see. Like, I knew we had our beef.
I think he's one of those.
After this.
Yeah, I think he's one of those deadly assassins. I think he's not going to be one of those people who fights this out in social media. He's not going to give us a great soundbite that let us know what he's thinking. I think one day we'll get this headline that says, and it won't be this year because we've talked about that. Nobody's going to pick up that $50 million. They might pick it up next year, but I think we'll just get a headline one day that says, Aaron Rodgers is out. He's having lunch with Brett Favre to celebrate, something like that. So I think it's just going to be something that it just pops up. We might get inclinations because obviously the rumblings will start happening once talks really start igniting.
Yes.
But as far as us hearing anything from him directly, I think he's just going to chill. And I still think those were the Rocky Mountains behind him. But I'm just saying.
I'm not fighting you on that. Devin, just real quick, off of just face value of just seeing that post on IG, do you and we all, like we said, we all believe that he's on his way out, but just from face value of that IG post, do you believe that is like I asked Jackie, is it just like all right, whatever happens, or he's just like, okay, challenge accepted for the Packers rather than moving on? What did you see from this picture at face value, or am I reading too much into it?
You asked me, Chris, or Britt?
Yeah, Devin. Yeah, no, you, Devin. Sorry, Devin.
I'm with Jackie on this. I mean, to be honest, I think he just posted a picture to post a picture. I don't know that he really had some like subliminal message behind it or some hidden meaning that he wanted people to pick up on. But I think that he's, trying to just accept the situation for what it is now. But he's definitely not staying with the Packers. He's going to be making his way out. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just a picture, but I think we know what he's thinking.
Yeah. Like I said, to me, I saw it as him looking at this like, okay, all right, you dealt the hand, I'm ready to go, and that's how I see it as a two. Last but not least, we've talked about all kinds of NBA impressions from B. Dot, from Max's Nights, from this guy and that guy. We're seeing everybody doing basketball impressions, but we finally got a football impressionist. We got a dude that did an impression of some of the more notable quarterbacks in the league. Unfortunately, Drew Brees wasn't on that list, but that's fine, my guy. But it's fine. The list that he chose was actually pretty funny, and the impressions were actually pretty solid. So you see my guy right there doing the Patrick Mahomes, got the face, the Carson Wentz. That's for you, Britt. Look at that. See, because it's real.
This was my favorite.
He's in his house too, just pouring out water like he didn't even care.
Why the licky lick though?
I don't know, but this one, I took this as two things. I took that as him handing out interceptions, but I know he's handing out, for the running backs to do all the work. Brett, how you feel about that? That's too disrespectful. Love that. On point right there. On point. But Brett, come on. You were very quiet about the Dak Prescott one. How you feel about that Dak Prescott? Was that out of pocket because he paid him and then still lost the ball? How you feel about that impression? Don't let him disrespect you like that.
I don't feel any kind of way because I also know that the Dallas Cowboys had the #1 overall offense this past season. So what do you have to say, my guy?
That.
Nothing.
Talk that talk, Brett. That's all I'm saying. I just wanted you to give that platform. Go ahead and talk. Go ahead and talk. Yeah, so I'd let you get your piece out. Anyways, that's it for me on Post Up.
Thank you, Chris. I love that. That was hilarious. Okay, so Jackie, what is the weirdest stuff that's happening in the sports world right now? Take us into WTF.
All right, the weirdest thing are UFC homeless fights because Luke Rockhold might have been knocked out on his last 2 UFC fights, but he had no intentions of losing a street fight to a homeless woman he thought might be trying to infect him with the coronavirus. So the former UFC fighter says he was walking his dog when he saw a sketchy woman sitting on a bus stop. He said she looked kind of like she was homeless or on meth or both. He said, quote, "As I got closer, she popped up out of nowhere and ran at me like a zombie or something. She just jumped and started to run at me like, arr! And she started hacking a loogie like she was going to spit on me. I was like she scared me and I thought she was trying to infect me kind of thing. I didn't know what to do. And as it doesn't call her a she, as it got closer, I just reared up with a vicious front kick and just launched that thing in the air instinctually. The thing went up and landed on the ground and literally started quivering like a vampire in the sun or something. I was in awe of the situation." There's a lot to unpack there. He said he was on Santa Monica Boulevard. If he was on the Santa Monica Boulevard here in Hollywood, I think I know the homeless chick he's talking about because we call her the Screamer, and she will kind of just run up to you, but she never, you just kind of just move to the other side. So I'm not sure why he didn't just move to the other side. So I kind of agree with this Twitter user who said Luke's CTE is aging like a beautiful bottle of milk. So I agree with that. As our guy here, Chris, I have to ask you, if you see a crazy homeless lady walking up to you, do you go on to full attack mode or what's your first plan of attack?
No, what you said is exactly what I do. You just move on to I used to work in Santa Monica, and they used to come and go right at the door in my old office building. They'll go at the door and they would stare at me for about 2 hours. You don't confront them. You confront them and you activate the crazy. So and also, as a guy, I don't care if you are crazy, homeless. I don't care what you say. I'm not going and hitting no girl. That's not the option in my brain. I don't have that switch. So I don't know, but hawking loogie and stuff like that. That's some next level stuff. But yeah, that wouldn't be the route I would take at all.
Yeah. And then with her quivering in the street, there's no part of his story where he's like, "Oh, I checked on her. She was fine." He's like, "Oh, I just watched in awe." What?
That's what I'm saying.
Bless his heart. Bless his heart. All right. Yeah. So this one we touched on. This one's really sad to me because I really hate to hear stories like this where young men really have their whole lives in front of them and then they get caught up in some mess that kind of messes everything up. But to Shaun Hightower, he's Tulane's leading scorer last season, who was previously spent 2 seasons in the UGA. He was booked into Henry County Jail on Saturday. He was charged with felony murder, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and battery. His attorney says that it was his brother Jeffrey who fired the gun on April 8th. He said, quote, "He didn't shoot anybody. It's sad the detective sought to make him out to be a monster, and he's not. When it's all said and done, it will come out in the wash that the person who did fire the gun shot the gun to protect Shaun." So it's a really sad story. He did declare for the NBA draft earlier. He had the option of returning back to Tulane, but Tulane removed him from that option. So I think he would consider that because, like I said, this happened on April 8th, but on the 20th, he tweeted, "I got the best coach in college basketball at Coach R. Hunter." So it's a really, really sad situation. So, Britt, I want to ask you, if it's all said and done, and I think we know how the court systems work, so it's going to take some time for this to kind of play out in court. So I don't think he'll have an opportunity to make the NBA draft, but do you think Tulane should welcome him back if he's found to be not guilty in any way, shape, form, or fashion?
Absolutely. And I also think that I don't know. I think that he should go back, or people in the NBA should possibly chance. Honestly, like, he's not been found guilty of anything yet. So I think you wait till that day plays out. One of my friends, Michael Kendricks, who most people know his brother, Eric Kendricks, but Michael won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, and he's been in the league for a long time. And he, is the last couple years has been going through trial for like money laundering or something like that. And he originally, that's why he got cut from the Eagles, but then the seat him up, and he's still been able to play since then because he hasn't been, sentenced or convicted at this time, so they've let him continue playing. And, obviously I know murder is like a bigger deal and a bigger thing, but I don't see ruining somebody's career to a point where we don't even know if he did anything wrong or not. So I don't think, obviously the court of public opinion is a big deal and it's a big issue or whatever, but if an NBA team like give him a chance, or maybe a team overseas, I would tell him to take it. And I would hope that, our system isn't that screwed up that we're, sentencing people that are guilty for stuff before they even have their trial. So, I just hope that that's not something that we're going to do. But as far as going back to college, I probably don't think that he should go back to college, just because I don't think anyone should go back to college if they play basketball.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I was just kind of looking at that as an option because I think once the trial, they're going to drag out this trial and then he's going to miss the NBA draft. And so then I was like, okay, let's just make sure he has some option. But we also know that there's other options too. He could go to the, G League or something like that. So either way, he's 2 of 6, his brother and himself. There's 6 people total that are involved in this case. So I really do hope it plays out like they say, and it really was a self-defense issue because apparently the person they shot did pull out a gun. So there's some details that we're obviously missing that they're probably not releasing because it's still under investigation. But it's a really sad situation that I hope ends positively. So I had to put that positively at the end so I can make sure that we go positively into Britt's takes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, guys, it's time for Britt's take. Chris, where's my beat? Where's my sound effect? Thank you.
Sorry, a little late.
Really late.
A little late. I'm gonna blame that on just like bad internet connection or something. But, all right. So we're talking about players just now, of opportunities and getting stuff like that. But I have a question. Once a player does make the team, do you think players deserve the opportunity to wear a particular number? So Thursday, the Dallas Cowboys released the new jersey numbers for the incoming rookies. And to most people's surprise, CeeDee Lamb selected number 88, We all know number 88 is one of the most famous Dallas Cowboys jersey numbers because guys like Drew Pearson, Michael Irvin, and last but not least, Dez Bryant wore that jersey number. Now, it's very interesting that CeeDee decided to take this number because Dez Bryant isn't necessarily like retired yet. You know, the only person that got it after Michael Irvin was Dez Bryant, and that was clearly way after Dez Bryant or Michael Irvin was done playing in the league. Same with Drew Pearson. So it's very interesting that CeeDee Lamb decided to take that as his jersey number when we've been seeing Dez Bryant working out with Dak and stuff like that. So it's very kind of up in the air that Dez is trying to get back in the league. It's a known thing, and he's trying to get back with the Dallas Cowboys, not just any team. He really wants to go back to Dallas. So I thought it was interesting that CeeDee decided to take that number. So did all the other Cowboys fans, because everybody kind of immediately went to Dez Bryant, Dez on Twitter. What do you think of this? What are your thoughts? Blah, blah, blah. Dez shared in a couple tweets, one saying, CeeDee, be you and be great. Another person asked him, what are your thoughts on it? And Dez said, I can't feel no way but be supportive of Lamb and the rest of these young stars that's entering into the league. I believe it's my job to help him succeed as much on and off the field. So I thought that was a nice thing that Dez Bryant said. Most people believe you don't really wear a jersey number unless you've earned that number, or this person who wore it before that was a star kind of says it's okay for you to wear that number. So my take here is, I mean, this is football. There's only a certain amount of numbers given out. Numbers are usually kind of like in clumps based off what position they some of the numbers I do believe, though, are sacred numbers, and I don't think anybody on any team should just get to wear those numbers. I do believe it puts a little pressure on players to wear numbers of, like, 88 has only been a great number in Dallas. So for CeeDee to come and say that he's wearing that number, I think is him trying to make a statement. I think I am okay with people wearing other people's numbers. It's not like I said, there's only a certain amount of numbers that you can have. But in this case, I really, really, unfortunately, as much as I like CeeDee Lamb, he was a great pick for the Cowboys. There's two things I think here. Number one, CeeDee Lamb is not our number one receiver, at least for not the next couple years. Not after you just paid a guy 5-year contract worth $100 million. Like, you don't then have CeeDee become the number one guy. That's not going to happen. So for a guy that's not going to be the number one receiver, when Dez came in, Dez was the number one receiver. When Michael Irvin came in, number one guy. Drew was the number one guy. So CeeDee, I don't know if he's earned the ability to wear number 88 yet, and I don't know if I love the way this went about because he didn't ask Dez Bryant. I love how Dez Bryant responded to it, but it was a clear thing because at this point Dez would have responded saying, oh, well, he asked me and I said it was cool. That didn't happen. So I feel, and obviously Michael Irvin came out and said that he's happy he's wearing it too, whatever the case is, but nobody, he didn't ask anybody. And this 88 number is just a number you don't play with. Like, I don't care. It's even sacred than 22 with Emmitt Smith, you know, like Emmitt Smith was the only one that wore 22, but anybody else that's wore it since then hasn't been great. Emmitt Smith's 22 is the great 22. Like, I don't think Michael Irvin's 88 is some 88 that everyone wears. It just can't happen. And I think CeeDee, considering Dez Bryant is still looking to get with the Cowboys, I don't think CeeDee did the right thing here. I think he should have went with another number until he earned that number, at least that number one spot as a receiver with the Dallas Cowboys, or at least until Dez officially retired or signed with another team. I got to ask you, Chris, do you think players have to earn their stripes with jersey numbers?
Oh, 100%. And I love that whole, I don't know, tradition with sports when, like, because, you know, obviously jerseys get retired and stuff like that. But in football, you see it more often where, you know, it's way more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's way more sacred with a lot of, like, you just, all the numbers you just know, like the 88s and the players who wore them and stuff like that.
The next great player, yeah.
Exactly. I feel like it's just so much more sacred in football, and I love that. And I 100% agree that, yeah, you got to earn your stripes in order to be handed a number of that kind of, you know, magnitude. Because, like you said, when Dez came in with the 88, even then people were like, That's a little disrespectful, but you knew he was gonna be the number one, and right away he's like, yeah, I 88, and even Michael Irvin signed off on all that stuff. So, I do believe that players should definitely earn their stripes. I'd be damned if I saw somebody come to the Saints in 2023 and just right off the bat, the new quarterback's running number 9, and he's like a 7th round pick or something like that. I'd feel some type of way about something like that. Even like players that were part of the Super Bowl team, like 25, like I don't want to throw that number on. Even Reggie Bush wasn't like an all-time great. He was a vital part to why we won a Super Bowl. So I don't want anybody else wearing 25. The only other person that's wore 25 since 2009 was a guy named Raphael Bush. So they played on the joke that both the last name was Bush. So he wore 25. But yeah, I really believe that the importance of numbers, especially in this case, you got to be able to have the resume before you can rock a number like that. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works out.
Second part to this to you, Chris. Do you think CeeDee looks to be the next great 88 for Dallas? Like, obviously, it's probably going to be a couple years before we have that, as something that could even be an option. But do you see him as potentially being that guy?
That's the part I love the most about it, is that he has that confidence and in his mind, he believes that, yes, he can be that next guy. I just don't know how realistic it is because, like you just mentioned, you signed a lot of money to another player that wears number 19. So I don't know how realistic that is that he could overlap him and maybe end up being the number one guy. But just the fact that he has that fire and has that thought that, you know what, I'm wearing this 88 because I'm going to prove that I'm going to be the best. And if that ends up happening in 2 years time, even this year, if that ends up happening, I feel like that would be even doper story than this one we're talking about right now. But I don't know if it will happen because Amari Cooper's a pretty damn good receiver.
Yes, he is. Jackie, my next question is for you. Do you think it's disrespectful that he did not ask Dez Bryant, since the whole point of Dez is still trying to play? Like, I get really the number kind of mostly belongs to Drew Pearson and Michael Irvin. And then, Michael kind of came around and said, oh, Dez is my son, so he can have the number. But like, he obviously didn't have the Super Bowl wins. Like Michael Irvin had 3 and Drew Pearson had 1 or whatever. So he's not in control of the number 88 like those guys were. But do you think it's so disrespectful that he didn't ask Dez because Dez is still trying to play in the league with the Dallas Cowboys?
So I don't think he's in the age bracket of people who consider if it's respectful or not. I flat out just don't think he cared or not. I know that might sound bad, but I just don't think he's in that demographic. And I think, to me, because, I give Dez Bryant a lot of flack. One of the reasons I give him so much flack, though, is because he's so immensely talented, and I feel like he should still be on the forefront of all of our lips as the best receiver in the league. And sometimes I think he sells himself a little short in the way that he handled things. But I freaking love Dez Bryant, and I have said it time and time again how I want his story to end is him to come back to Dallas and be once again that number one receiver and earn that. So I think if you don't have to ask to wear the number, then you should be prepared to lose the number once Dez comes back, because I do think that that's how that road is going to travel. And I think, like you said, numbers there's just a limited amount of numbers. We can give you a new number, because at that point, I don't think he's going to be starting anyway. So here, go take this other number that nobody knows nothing about. So, and since we're not big on respect, don't feel no type of way about it when we take this number from you. That's how I feel about that.
I love it. Devin, I want to ask you a question really quick as well. Do you think that that by CeeDee Lamb taking number 88, did he put a level of pressure on himself that maybe he's not really equipped to handle? Like, did you kind of set you up for a loss by making yourself a target, because everyone's going to be looking at you now because you're going to be wearing 88 and they're going to be looking for greatness? Did he set himself up in a negative way by picking 88? Or do you think it's going to be just a way to motivate himself to be better?
I mean, I guess you can look at it both ways, but I think it was a bold move for all of the reasons that you three have already talked about, but it also just forces him to fill some big shoes. And I don't know, to me, I'm trying to understand the thought process behind why he would even want to be number 88, especially because Dez could come back. And it just seems like he's going into this team starting unnecessary tension or weirdness, or maybe like he's going into it with a sense of entitlement. But yeah, I think that it definitely does add more pressure to him and forces him, like I said before, to fill big shoes that maybe he's not going to be ready to fill when he's in his rookie season in the NFL.
Yeah, I would like to hope that he's doing this out of respect for the number and he really thinks he's going to be that guy. So he's like, no, I'm paying respect to this number because this is the best number and I feel like I'm going to be the best player on this team. So, or at least the best receiver, the number one receiver on this team. I would hope that's his thought process. But again, like Jackie said, he is from an era where like respect isn't obviously like the top concern of some of these players. So who knows what his thought process was, but hopefully it was just like paying homage. Like, I really respect this number and I feel like I'm going to be the best. So I want to wear this number. So, but who knows? We'll see. We will see.
Yeah, we'll see. It was an interesting move, that's for sure. We have a couple minutes left here, you guys. So are there any exciting quarantine plans happening for you? Britt, you're on screen right now. So tell me what you plan on doing this weekend.
Oh, this weekend, probably nothing. Nothing. Like, I don't know if you guys live in California or watching, but in Southern California, they just barricaded all the beaches. So even if I wanted to go to the beach, that's not even an option anymore. Last weekend, everyone kind of filled the beaches up and our governor was like, oh, hell no. So they're barricaded now. So we can't even go if we wanted to. I might get like a little kiddie pool and fill it up on my balcony and just sit in the little kiddie pool. Because I live in the valley and it is hot out here. Like, let me tell you guys, It is really hot. Other than that, Sunday, obviously, I'm going to be watching Michael Jordan, Last Dance. That's really the only. And I'm sad because we're on the latter of this, so there's only going to be a couple more weeks left of this. And then if we don't get out of this quarantine, I don't know what I'm going to do with my weekends after that. But yeah, about it.
Nice. The kiddie pool sounds like a great idea. My best friend actually called me yesterday and was like, "Are you going to order a kiddie pool?" And I was like, probably not.
Let's all do it. We'll just go shoot from a kiddie pool next week.
Right.
That would be a great idea. Jackie, what do you have going on this weekend? Anything different or unusual?
So last weekend, I think I told you guys I was so fascinated by the people in Huntington Beach that protested the lockdown. So I went up there to see if the beaches were packed, and they were packed. So now that the governor has barricaded them, I think I'm still going to go drive. I didn't get out of my car, though, just for clarity. But I think I'm probably going to just maybe get some popcorn and drive up there and post up and watch these fools try to jump over this barricade and see how the police react and just have my own personal form of entertainment. I think that's what I'm going to do.
Please record
I shall.
For us.
I shall.
That is great.
We'll do a video next week, the best route run.
Right.
Okay, Chris, what about you? What's happening for you this weekend?
A whole lot of nothing. I'm running out of shows, running out of movies. I'm probably just good old 2K and waiting for MJ. Bars. Ooh, hey, yeah, there it is. 2K
Hey,
waiting for
yeah.
MJ. There it is. That's what we're doing. There it is.
Well, actually, an interesting fact that our producer just texted me, The Last Dance is the most popular documentary ever. It surpasses Tiger King, which I'm personally happy about, and I think that the attention is well worth it. So I'm going to be watching it too.
100%.
We're contributing to that, you guys.
I haven't even seen Tiger King yet. Am I the only one who hasn't seen it?
I haven't seen
probably.
it.
But last week, they announced too that the NFL draft was the most watched draft in NFL history.
Mm-hmm.
So
History,
that actually, they're probably making money too. They're like one of the only other people making money too because nothing else was happening. So it was like by far, it was like millions more than it had ever been.
Right. I never watched day 3, and I did this time around.
Me too.
Yeah.
And the whole thing.
Me too. The entire thing. I had it all just going. It's crazy. It was crazy.
So Mr. Irrelevant and everything.
Right.
They can thank us for being couch potatoes. All right, you guys. Well, this wraps up our show. Thank you so much to all of you viewing it for hanging out with us today. We hope you enjoyed everything, and also that you liked Jackie's exclusive interview. Let us know what you thought about it in the comments below. Don't forget to check out The Weekend Zone, which is coming out tomorrow on Saturday, and our live show with Chris and Jackie after The Last Dance on Sunday night. And then before you go, subscribe to the Fumble, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, wash your hands, stay safe. I'm holding out my hands for some hand sanitizer from you guys right now.
I'll take one. That's fine. Yeah.
Make sure you, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you on Monday at 11 a.m. for another live show. Bye, you guys. Thanks for watching.